what do we have in store for the year ahead? Hi, I'm Dunavant-Banks with Banks Real Estate. Well, looking at where we are right now and what is going on sheds some great insight on what we should expect in the upcoming year. Let's be clear, my own personal prediction of the real estate housing market for 2022 is that we'll still continue to see increase in prices. I believe that what we are going to see in the upcoming year is actually pretty similar to what we experienced in 2021. Prices going up, interest rates still remaining low, although I do expect we'll see some increases in those interest rates, but relative to historical rates, those puppies are going to stay pretty darn low. Now, the lack of inventory, that's what's really pushing the market. The high demand of buyers and low interest rates are a sure sign of the housing market continuing to increase. Now, according to a recent report from the National Association of Realtors, growth in the housing market, that inventory has slowed over the past decade in the aftermath of the 2008 housing crisis, creating an underbuilding gap. Yep, you heard me, we're not building enough. Now, we have an underbuilding gap of 5.5 million to 6.8 million housing units across the country since 2001. What else is happening that renders a positive real estate forecast for 2022? Rents. Rents and housing prices continue to increase due to the low supply and the very high demand. We're at a 4.2% unemployment rate, which closely matches the unemployment rate back in March 2020 before the pandemic started. Job creation, new jobs coming to the market, has mostly continued to increase month over month since the pandemic hit, but we're still not back to normal. We're about 4 million jobs short. The total non-farm payroll, which is the total number of U.S. workers in the economy that excludes proprietors, mostly has continued to rise since the pandemic hit. This graph shows the number of payroll jobs in the U.S. rising, but not quite back to where we were prior to the pandemic. Now, we see a surge of home sales since the pandemic, and this year was the most amount of home sales in 2021 than the number of homes sold per year than in the past 15 years. Median home prices have soared to all-time highs, over $400,000. NAR asked 23 real estate economists and experts about their forecast on inflation. Here is a list of the experts and economists that they surveyed. Now, the average was 4%, which by historical standards is high. Ideal inflation is 2%. However, their prediction of 4% inflation is double the ideal rate, but is not as bad as the anticipated 6.8%. You can see from this graph what each of the 23 predicted, with the lowest predicting 2.7% inflation rate and the highest at 7.5%, with one expert predicting that, but the average is 4%. What about home price appreciation? The average consensus is that home prices will rise 5.7% from our expert panel. But remember last year, they predicted home prices would increase by 6.8%, but the actual price increase for 2021 was 20.3%. So let's hope we see higher numbers than they anticipate. Here you see one expert on the negative end of median appreciation decreasing by 10%. Woo! And on the positive side, two experts predicting as high as 12% median home price increase. The median panelists agree that the Federal Reserve will be raising interest rates 2 times next year. That is the average consensus, the average being 2, with 11 experts predicting that. But 8 experts are predicting only 1 interest rate hike. It's important to understand that from an affordability standpoint, a consumer buying a home today versus a year ago, their payment is actually going to be less now, even though prices have gone up since interest rates are so low right now. So based upon all this data, with interest rates still incredibly low and the number of new homes across the country that are still completely depressed and needing more new homes to support that buyer demand, as well as the fewer number of homes hitting the market, oh my, guess that the 2022 real estate market forecast is going to be hot, hot, hot. Pretty much a replica of what we saw in 2021. There was so much demand and lack of inventory that seriously, prices were creeping up and up and up. Buyers were willing to pay more for homes than what homes were even listed for across the board, and pretty much giving sellers anything they wanted. It was wild out there. Sellers had all the leverage and were taking offers with little or no contingencies, and the terms of the contract mostly were in the seller's favor. Now, in my opinion, based upon the data, this year is going to be exactly the same. So buyers, get ready. Get your pre-approvals ready. Get your down payments ready. So, as a quick recap, on a positive note, the economy looks good. The tide is rising. Buyers want to buy, and they want to buy a lot. Rates are low and should remain low relative to the historical rates. Now, the market is incredibly attractive to those sellers. Sales will stay competitive, solid, and strong this year, and home prices will keep rising. The bad news, and what is dampening our housing market, is that we still aren't building enough homes. There are more buyers than there are homes. Obviously, the pandemic has really created challenges for us in this part. It's getting harder and harder for first-time home buyers to even enter the real estate market because of the increase in the average sales price and those low inventory levels. I truly hope this was helpful. If you're looking for more real estate market updates and information, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dunavant-Banks Real Estate, and check out my website. There's all kinds of great information there at www.rewithdawn.com. Remember, kindness matters.